And we're live. Well, go live. Come on, go live on my thing. There it is. Oh, we're live. Looks like
Oh
we're
wait, whatever
here.
you do, don't go live yet. I got something to say. Oh, never mind. I guess we.
Oh, it's too late now.
Oh man, I was gonna say something that I don't want everybody to hear, man.
Well, why are you
Man,
gonna wait till now? Why you always gonna be late?
man,
What's going on?
man. The last minute, I can't say that one thing I was gonna say, man. What I'm gonna say
We got
right
the hang.
now, though, is
What is
that
it?
I am Kirk M. Samuels.
Are you really? And I
I
am
sure
Jason B.
am.
Kendrick.
And that means, y'all, that we are the madmen of masculinity, baby.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
And if you see me looking down, that's because I'm trying to hit share, which you should do
He's
too.
sharing. We
If you're
gotta,
watching
sharing
this,
is
sharing
caring.
is
We really got to
caring.
be
You know
doing
what
some
I'm saying?
sharing.
I mean, if you go to the Mad Men of Masculinity page on Facebook,
Yes.
as we are streaming this live, we can see your comments right on the screen.
Yes, we
And while
can.
you're there and you see this, or even if you're on your own timeline or one of our times or whatever, you can just hit share. Don't cost you
Mm-hmm.
nothing. It's free.
No question.
You know what I'm saying?
You never know who you could
And,
be
and
benefiting by
you
sharing,
never know. And we're gonna stir some stuff up today, man.
We're gonna stirring it up. It's already been stirred up. We're just gonna
We're gonna stir it up,
keep a little stirring going. So
stir
we
it up
talk about
like a reggae
what
song.
men want. Yeah. So for those of you that are
Well,
on
why don't you tell the background story,
a
man?
little
Let's tell the
background story.
background story.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so I saw this post that struck me, and of course, me being me, I saw the first couple paragraphs and was like, yeah, men, we don't want competition, we want collaboration in a woman, who isn't domineering and controlling. And so I saw that and was like, yeah, that sounds like something that's right. And so I posted it. And then it started this whole storm of comments and this whole thing. And the funny thing was I was at work. So I come back later and it's like, wow. It was
Dude, that
just
joint went way
it
left,
went
man.
off. It went way off.
That joint went way left, man. I mean, by the time I saw it, by the time I saw the post,
Mm-hmm.
and I happened to look down, because I like to, I like to go beneath the surface. So I
Yeah.
looked down, scrolled down, and when I saw the comments, I noticed a pattern, and the
Yeah.
pattern was that as I read through all the comments, and I'm sure, tons of people saw it. I'm sure men and women saw it, but the pattern I noticed was every comment was from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Every comment was from a female, every comment was from a woman, and each one of the comments basically had some kind of pushback to the fact that men could want anything in terms of dating and relationships and all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
It was either, some kind of reason why or
Mm-hmm.
excuse or conditional, or if then, and all this other kind of stuff. But every single comment was a woman basically nullifying that list or poo-pooing it, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
It was basically, one after the other without exception. Well, maybe I can take that back. There's about one or two exceptions, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it was, women just saying basically why they wouldn't, couldn't, or
Mm-hmm.
won't, basically even listen to any of that kind of stuff. And so I chimed in and I was kind of like, am I the only one? And oh man, then it just got ill. I
Yeah.
had to call somebody out. I had to, yeah, it just got ill.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a couple comments that were like, I don't know if they read it from the place of being open minded and this is just from, and it was apparently from some therapist who said this is what men like secretly want, or they want that they're not expressing it as well. And
You talking about the
so
original post?
yeah, the original post.
Yeah.
And, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just everything that's on there, it doesn't sound. I mean, some of the things I guess he might be taking a little askew. However, from the most part, I mean, a man wants he wants a compatriot and a partner, and he wants collaboration in his marriage. He wants when it comes to sex, he wants her to be as you know initiating as much as he is or more. Just add some more initiation there, loyalty, respect. He doesn't want leftovers, money. Does she have control of money, or is it just spend, spend, spend? Appearance, encouragement. I mean, these are all things we've talked about before that seem to have triggered. And I know some seem to, there were some ladies who were, I think, a little more aware or maybe a little more personally aware that said, okay, I get that. I don't know if I can provide all those things. And then I had to come back and say, well, these are the things that men really want. It's not what they expect, especially nowadays. Nowadays, men would probably be very careful in how
Mhm.
they would express those wants because we have not been given an opportunity really to say, hey, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And you can, give that or not, but these are just the things that I would prefer.
Yeah. Now, what you just said was like way down the list in the conversation. That part you
Hmm.
just ended with. I just looked down now. It said there was 95 comments on the thing. Um, and so basically cut to the chase. What we decided to do was first of all have a conversation about the whole idea of men having wants or men
Hmm.
having a voice for their wants in the context of relationships and dating. And then
Yep.
we're going to come back in a week and have a conversation about this actual list. We
Yep.
figured we would address the elephant in the room in terms of the subtext to put some water on the fire before the fire gets started, because we already know how a lot of women feel about the whole topic, the whole idea of having a
Hmm.
list of men's wants. We already know that. Like you know, y'all have already revealed yourself.
Yep.
And so we know that that exists. So we're going to address that first, and then we're going to come back and next time talk about the actual list itself. But the thing that and and so like I said, that part where you just finished off in terms of men, not having those expectations, or men, these days, that sort of thing. Out of 95 comments, I'm gonna say that would have probably been somewhere around comment 60 or 70-ish. Like before that,
Right.
man, the conversation just went left, right, up, down. Man, it was
Hmm.
just flat out bananas, cray cray. But the thing that struck me was just that it was almost offensive to some of these women
Hmm.
that men would actually have a list of expectations and things that are not even expectations, of wants. And
Yep.
and one of the women specifically threw out that word of, men need to stop expecting. And I was like, yo, it didn't even say expectations, it said
Right.
wants. And so it was almost
Right.
like offensive that men would even want anything in the area of relationships and dating.
Yeah, well, and it's something we've seen, and I see it all over YouTube, and a lot of these guys that are talking about it, and they'll go ask questions about, ask a lady, what do you want? What does the guy have to be? He's got to be 6 foot, he's got to make six figures, he's got to be fit, he's got to be hung, and all these things, and that's okay. And then as soon as the guy goes, well, I want a lady who's fit and who's compassionate and agreeable. Oh no, no, that's fat shaming, and that's misogyny because
Mm-hmm.
you can't ask her
Yeah.
to be those things for you because that's part of the patriarchy and that's part of men domineering. It's like, no, this is just a dude saying this is what I would
Yeah.
prefer. These are my preferences.
Right.
I'm if I'm a fit guy and I'm making good money, I would like my woman to be fit and and successful as well, or
Yeah.
at least um, a partner in my success.
Yeah.
But when we say those things, it doesn't come across as this is just something that I prefer. This is just my preference or my opinion. It comes across as these are demands, or at least that's the feedback we get. We get
Mm-hmm.
this feedback that, oh, you can't make those requests of us or these demands, quote unquote, of us. And it's like, but don't you do the same to us? Don't you say that I need to be 6 feet tall so you can wear your heels, and I need to make six figures so I can provide you the life you want? I need to be fit and all these different things. It just seems like there's not an equal ground a lot of times when we go, hey, these are the things that I prefer. These are my requests. This is the things I want. And for a lot of guys, they're afraid to even express what they want because when they do that, a lot of times it gets taken personally. And it's not like they don't have these desires. They just are afraid to express them because as soon as they go, well, I would like you to be this, or I would like that, or this is my preference, it gets thrown back at us like, no, no, that's
Yeah.
fat shaming, or that's shaming of some kind. And it's like, well, didn't
Mm-hmm.
you just say you wanted a guy that fits this bill or has this
Yeah.
list of attributes?
Yeah. And I have it from some inside reliable sources that amongst women, even between women, I mean, there's no question that it's acceptable to have wants and have standards and have this and that. I'm thinking back to, I don't know if this sounds familiar to anybody. So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet nowhere. And I don't want none of your time. And no, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend ride, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. I mean, and you can go on through the rest of the song. I mean, this is pretty clear. These are like some of these are like women anthems, in
Yeah.
terms of pretty clear with here's what I want, here's what I don't want. And so I don't know why it was so offensive to these women, and these women don't represent all women.
Right.
A lot of times the vocal ones can sometimes be in the slight minority in terms of numbers, but at the same time they're vocal and they're the ones that are willing to put these thoughts out on social media for everybody to read. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, wait a minute, when did it become so offensive for a man to have wants? Like, I
Mhm.
want this, I want that. Why is that wrong? I don't get that. But it
Yeah.
clearly was to a lot of people, a lot of these women.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw a lot of positive comments, and what was interesting is a lot of the positive comments were from women in long-term marriages or in long-term relationships saying, "Yeah, my man wants these things, and I do my best. He doesn't get them all the time, and he doesn't give me everything all the time, but we work together and we make the best of what we have together." And so it seemed like, and I even made a comment like, "Well, if you're chronically single and you have issues with these wants, maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just throwing it out there. Like there could be a correlation here. But it's interesting that we see so much, and we've talked about it before, that if we put out there, oh, a man needs to step up, a man needs to do this, everybody's like, yeah, 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 rah, 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 cheer, 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 cheer. But if we say, well, okay, if you want a man to step up, ladies, you got to step up too. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, 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 hold up.
Yeah.
No. And,
Yeah.
why is that, not okay?
You know what? Sometimes that we goes back, several conversations ago. It goes both ways, don't always go both ways.
Right.
It goes both ways when it's convenient, and when it's something that is convenient to say, hey, yeah, we want that too. But it just really struck me. And I don't know if this is a modern feminism, just a culture of today kind of thing or what, but like I said, it was literally offensive. And like I said, that one female that I had to check, I'm like, no, you don't bring that false masculinity to me, I mean, trying to shut me up or shut me down or whatever. Like, I don't play that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. I'm not the one. And then like the tone changed and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know where all that comes from, man, but it's ugly to be. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
It's ugly. It's like, how do you expect to I mean, if that's your mentality, get out of the dating pool. If that's
Yeah.
your mentality, don't even like date nobody because you are messing it up for everybody else. Like
Yeah.
you have a small piece in corrupting the dating pool for the next woman that could potentially come after you in a dating scenario because you're bitter, you don't want to listen, you don't care to understand, you only want to be understood, you
Mhm.
only want to be heard, you don't want to hear, you're not listening to anything, you hear and then you react. And so I'm just like, for you, and to your point, a lot of them were single women,
Mhm.
chronically single women that you and I know. And it's just like, how do you expect to ever have a successful relationship with anyone, sibling, parent, kids, coworker, whatever, if you're not even willing to listen to the things that they want?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes back to, are you willing to give what you want to receive? So you want us as men to love you unconditionally, without any expectations,
Yeah,
and listen to everything and not try to fix and do all those things for you, except when the tables turned and we are saying, well, love me unconditionally. No, no, no. You have to
right,
be 6 foot tall and have six
right,
figures.
right.
Um, I'm gonna tell you about my day and what my challenges are. No, no, no. You need to be a man and suck it up and keep silent and end up dying from a heart attack at 60 because you have no outlet to express. And we're just saying, hey, men have wants. We don't expect all those wants. I mean, most men nowadays would be very happy on that list to get one or two of those a week or a month. And that, because that's how kind of starved for those things we are. And it comes down to a lot of ladies who are looking for those high quality men. A high quality man is going to have wants. He's going to have
Mhm.
standards. He's going
Mhm.
to have these things, and he's going to express them to you. And if
Mhm.
you are not open to hearing that and working with that, then he's
Mhm.
not for you. He's not going to want to
Right.
be with you if he's a
Mhm.
high value man.
Mhm.
And that's what I posted up there, and it's always funny to me when I see something, and of course it's like early in the morning before work, and I just saw, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Let me post that because that maybe there's some conversation, maybe something we can have, and then it turns
Mhm.
into this whole thing, and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, let me go back. Maybe I missed something. And I'm reading it, and of course, I didn't agree with everything, but
Yeah. Right.
like the 5 or 6 things, I was like, yeah, men would
Mhm.
like their women to initiate sex more than
Yeah.
they do. They would
Yeah.
like to be respected. They would like to be encouraged.
Mhm.
They would like to
Mhm.
have a partner and
Mhm.
someone who is working with them versus being a competitor.
Mhm.
Those things are, I don't see what the big issue is with those things, but it seems like
Yeah.
anytime you say, hey, lady, I would like these things, and this is what I
Yeah.
would like in my relationship,
Mhm. Mhm.
it gets blown back. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
how do you expect men to express themselves
Yeah.
if every time they express themselves, you freak out and take it all personally?
And
You would
shut it
like
down.
him to, yeah, you would like your
Mhm.
man to hear what you say without
Mhm.
taking it personally. You would like
Mhm.
to hear him to hear your feedback without being,
Mhm.
butt hurt and everything. So why
Mhm.
is that not okay to go both ways?
Yeah, a man, to your point, a man of value, a man of any value, any significant value, a good man is going to be a man of value. Partly, he's going to be a man of value because he values himself. He's going to be a man of value because he's put in work to get ready for you to show up in his life. And when you do show up in his life, he values himself enough to recognize that there should be some reciprocity in the flow of this relationship. And if you're not willing to be reciprocal with the flow that exists in a relationship, then that means there's a blockage. Then that means literally this relationship is damned. And there's no need to proceed forward. So, if you do get in a relationship with a man that doesn't come to you with, what, here are the things I like, here's the things I don't like, here's the things I want. Now, again, I'm a grown man, right? So to your point, I'm not a little kid, I'm gonna throw a temper tantrum, but at the same time, here are the things I like, here are the things I want. Um, and so if you meet a man of any value and he doesn't communicate those things, he's not really a man of deep value because he doesn't value himself to give a voice to his wants and give a voice to his needs, give a voice to his desires. What's Janine talking about? Janine number one. Sounds
She said
sounds
it
like
sounds
good
like some
stuff.
good stuff to me. And she's
Nice.
right.
That's
I mean,
yeah.
if you want quality, quality
Mhm.
takes a little bit of effort. Quality takes a little bit of time and a give
Mhm.
and take. And I
Mhm.
think there's just been such a push towards, a lot of ladies are now going, well, I don't have to give anything, I just receive. Well, okay, you can do that, but how are your results? Are you just bouncing from guy to
Mhm.
guy? Are you not
Mhm.
finding quality men who will go with you in that direction? They may,
Yeah.
take you out on a date, and then maybe you have some fun together, but then he's
Yeah.
gone. Well,
Yeah.
maybe it's because he doesn't see the reciprocity or the reciprocation or a collaboration of, this is someone I might have a relationship with, and these are the things I need. What do you need? I'm expressing. And that's the thing, is a lot of guys nowadays we've found, and it's becoming more and more apparent, that if we express ourselves, we get shut down or canceled. And
Mhm.
it's always the patriarchy, misogyny, all this stuff. It's like, no, no, I'm just expressing my needs. I'm
Mhm.
communicating with you what I would like. Well, these are my
Mhm.
needs. These are the things that would make that, so you know what I'm expecting and what I would like, and then you express your needs to me and what your likes and desires are, and then if those things are compatible and we can work together, then we move forward. But if that's
Mhm.
one-sided, then there's nothing really to work with. You have no foundation to build on.
Yeah. Thanks for your feedback, Amy. We appreciate you. You know, that whole idea of man, just the flow and the reciprocity and that whole thing, man, and being in that relationship where all of our needs matter. If all of our needs don't matter in the context of this relationship, then yeah, it sucks and not in a good way. Right. And so I mean, and to your point, the whole can't in case you haven't figured this out, we're doing this like at our houses over Facebook. Like we're not worried about being canceled at this point because we got, you ain't nothing to cancel, right? I mean, so anyhow, I mean, that's why we put this stuff out there. But you know, we have done enough in the man space. We have proven ourselves in terms of the two of us, Mad Men and Masculinity,
Mhm.
holding men accountable and pushing men to elevate who we are, to up our game, to be the best men that we can be. We've been doing this for years. If I mean, I get these flashbacks from 3 years ago, and I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, we don't even look the same. We've been doing this for years, and we largely talk to men. But here's the deal: we can't keep pushing men to up their game and be better for that next date or that next relationship, but not at the same time recognize that, you know, that wait a minute, this is, it gets out of balance to a point where,
Mhm.
you know, we're only talking to men, like there's nothing on the other side of that scale to bring things back to even. And so, you know, these are why we push the limits, and we're willing to talk to women,
Yep.
because and help you all kind of hear us anyway, because these are things that guys probably won't tell you, you know, sitting in a conference room or sitting at a bar or restaurant. The guy that's sitting across from you on a first date, these are the things that he's thinking, and that's
Mhm.
why we put this stuff out here.
Well, and that's something probably that we need to spend more time talking about, especially for you ladies, is that the reason a lot of times men don't express these things to you on dates or in the early dating is because of their experience of being shut down or being called
Mhm.
out as misogynistic or the patriarchy. Because for some reason, we're supposed to take whatever your desires are, what your wants and needs are at face value and what you tell us.
Mhm.
But when we turn around and say, okay, I got you, I can work with that. Here's what I need. Oh, no, no, no. You're not allowed to say that. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how is that fair? How is that even, equality or
Mhm.
even equity for that matter?
Yeah.
If you want to build a foundation for a strong relationship, it's a give and take and it's about serving the other person. If you're not willing to serve, don't date.
Yeah.
Not until you're
That's
ready to accept that this man has needs and wants and desires that
yeah.
he's going to express to you, and don't take it personally if they don't fit.
Mhm. Because otherwise, that's a welfare mentality in relationship. That's a I'm only going to receive, but I'm not going to produce. I'm only
Mhm,
going to take, but I'm not going to put in. I'm not going to invest. I'm not going to do any work in the garden. I'm just going to eat all of the fruit, all of the crops that come out of that garden. It's a welfare mentality,
yeah,
when we only have it, you know, one side of that whole thing. So I want to point out one. I've had this conversation a couple times since then. In the comments in there, somebody brought up, they actually tried to go biblical with this concept, and she
mhm,
was talking about how you know, a man is supposed, I mean, and I mean, I would assume because of where she went, that she is a woman of faith, etc. um but you know, she said that men should love their wives, you know, unconditionally, love their wives sacrificially, like Christ loved the church. And a lot of the comments in there were like based on past experiences with men or past experiences with ex-husbands and all that kind of stuff, where, you know, where they experienced this from a man, and so therefore it's like, yeah, I can, you know, I can do all these things when I find a man that's worthy, or when a man treats me this way. And so
mhm,
my comeback to her was, I mean, I don't know if she didn't know that. I mean, I know some stuff in there. I mean, and so I said, okay, well, in that same passage, it says that it tells wives to submit to their husbands as unto Christ. In that same passage, right? And there's one thing, you know, I noticed the pattern of the if then, the conditional. I'll
mhm,
do this when, or I'll do this if.
mhm,
How would it sound to a woman to hear a man say, I will love you when you submit to me? Or she is unlovable unless she submits first.
right.
Like, that is unfathomable to hear, but it's the same rationale when you say, I will, you know, yeah, I'm great doing all these things that a man that on that list that a man wants to do. When I meet a man good enough, or
Mhm,
when a man treats me the way I should be treated, you know, then I'll do that. I mean, that doesn't even make sense when you flip the coin on the other side and say, wait a minute,
right,
how would that sound if a man said, I will never love you until you do all of these things for me? That doesn't
right.
even make sense at all, but it can be so conditional in terms of the way we rationalize that thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was the comment that got the most blowback was, a man would like his woman to honorably submit. And I saw a lot of comments about, well, what does that mean? Honorably submit on her knees? What does that mean? And
Mhm.
it's like, no, like we're in relationship. If you want me to be a man and the masculine in the relationship, that means I want to lead. I want to be the one
Mhm.
that kind of heads this train and gets things going. And so that means you can't be in the driver's seat with me. You can't,
Yeah.
there's only one steering wheel. We can't both be on the steering wheel trying to
Right.
turn each direction. So in each of these wants and these desires is all predicated on each of you as people,
Yeah.
because not every man's going to want every one of those things on that list. Not every man's going to
Right.
want the way those things are put on that list. But
Mm-hmm.
as people coming together, you got to have these conversations about, well, what do you want? What do you need?
Right.
What are the things that are red flags for you and no and hard nose for you? If you're not
Mm-hmm.
having these conversations, you're just expecting, well, he's got to love me unconditionally, and no matter what I do, and then he's also got to fill in all of these criteria. Where's the equality there?
Right.
And that's why I think relationships are suffering so bad right now, because we've lost the equality, and a lot of men are afraid to say, "Hey, I need this." They're just
Yeah.
picking up whatever they can to get a little attention. But a lot of guys now are even done with that game. I mean, you get to there's so many guys in our age that are just like, "I'm good. I
Right.
make money. I can buy my food. I can wash my clothes. I can hire a maid
Right.
if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I got to put up? Why do I want to put up with that?"
Right.
So
I mean, to your point, at this point, a lot of I'm going to say modern men. I'm using that kind of sarcastically, but a lot of modern men might take that term or that turn anyway, that pivot, and say, you know what, I don't really want to deal with what I see as a whole lot of just bitterness and pushback and brokenness and all that, from the women in my age group. So I'm either going to go younger. I'm gonna
mhm.
go younger from before they have all that, that drama and that junk in the trunk. I was about to say junk in the trunk. No, we want junk in the trunk. Baggage, the
Luggage.
luggage. Um, but I mean, or they just pivot and they say, okay, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna go play
I'm out.
golf. And quite honestly, and this is just being real, 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 real. A guy can say, man, I can meet my sexual fulfillment online. I don't even need a
Mhm.
real woman. And so as we are pushing men to elevate the masculine game and to show up as a good, we are your home for healthy masculinity, right? And so if we have impact on the masculine space, when that masculine man shows up in your life, we don't want you to ruin him.
Right.
So we're willing to have
Or
these some
ruin
of
your
these conversations
opportunity.
or ruin yours. I mean, again, it's your bad picker, right? I mean, when the good guy shows up, will you recognize him? So some of these conversations we have for guys, about guys, and for guys and guy stuff, some of these conversations are perspective for guys, and some of them are perspective for women, and some of them are like, hey, ladies, I mean, we have some mutual work to do, and so we're willing to have these conversations. Like I said, that the guy across the table from you, or the guy on that profile, or the guy you're really hoping comes up and says hi to you. These are the things that he's thinking, and we are not far off. I mean, we're not way out in left field. You can trust us. There's a big, huge percentage of men that fall right in this sweet spot that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't be a MGTOW men going their own way movement if they
Mm-hmm.
weren't thinking this way, if they weren't having
Mm-hmm.
these experiences. And we get it. Marriage is hard. We live a lot longer, so it's not like when marriage was first brought out, where okay, you send some goats over to the guy, some lady's husband or father, and then it's property. We know we're
Mm-hmm.
past that. We also know that
Mm-hmm.
back when this was started, we lived to about 45, 50.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're living to 80. So
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to have several relationships. However, when you get to a certain point in life, a lot of guys are stepping out because they're, either they're trying to up their game like we encourage,
Mm-hmm.
but what they're finding is there's not a lot of reciprocation on the lady side about upping their game as well.
Yeah.
And it's not, and of course, some of this is maybe the 1%, the 10%, and we're talking, outer butts about just the high profile, the loudest percentage. Because there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of good women out there who are
Mm-hmm.
just living their lives just like the guys,
Mm-hmm.
just going to work, raising their kids, doing the best they can.
Yeah.
But if we're going to spend our time putting ourselves out there on the pedestal to be targets to get men to up their game, and you ladies want high value men, this is what high value men want. They have
Yeah.
desires, they have wants, and they want to be able to express them to you without you freaking out and making it an issue.
Yeah. And we don't want guys showing up in the way, way, way far, manosphere, the red pill. We don't want guys showing up bitter. We want guys showing up better. And we want guys showing up kind of ready to do the work, or ready doing the work, so that they're ready when he shows up. And we want them to be successful the same way we want you to be successful, ladies. And part of that success is caring about what men want. You know, we're transitioning culturally out of role mates to more soul mates, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not so much I do this, you do that, who makes more money. A lot of relationships, a lot of couples, the woman makes more money. So
Mhm.
so the roles are kind of, going out the window, but the souls are kind of opening up saying, man, I'm lonely. Like I've been
Yeah.
locked down in COVID, and man, I'm just, I'm yearning for that connection, that soul connection. Well, if a man is willing to share some of his soul with you in terms of what he wants, you should probably listen because he really wants to connect with you in some deep ways. But if you're not even willing, step out of the dating game, please. I mean, when I was in that, in that space deep, real heavy and all that, man, it was just so frustrating. And so again, if you're out there, if you're not willing to, just like put up a finger, ask for a hall pass, just check out, just be gone out of the day. Do it for like the next 5 years
Yeah.
so that we can have 5 good years of women who care about men and who want a man in their life, so we can have y'all available in the dating pool. That'll get rid of the riffraff, and now we
Yeah.
can actually get to the stuff. We can keep the meat and we can spit out the bones.
Yeah. I mean, for us to be here doing what we do, and we do this because we love it and because these are
Mm-hmm.
conversations we have anyway. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to elevate men is because we weren't always there.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, we're still in that elevation process. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know I had my nice guy syndrome for many years and was very toxic. And some of the reasons I'm, for me personally, I'm hesitant dating is because, like, am I ready to give a woman what she needs? Am I ready to
Mm-hmm.
be that partner? Well,
Mm-hmm.
that means I need to elevate myself, my mind, and my heart to
Mm-hmm.
express these things to
Yeah.
a potential partner. And
Yeah.
all we're asking is, like, if we're willing to elevate ourselves and take the time. I mean, for me, it's been years and years. I've been working on this to get my mind right and my head right and my heart right to go, okay, maybe I'm now open to bring a woman into my life. If we're going to do that much work for ourselves to be the better man for you ladies, we're just asking for a little, little caring, a little empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and a little communication to say, hey, maybe we can work this together, because
Yeah.
it's not just one sided. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime we've tried one side relationship, it never goes well. So we're just
Mm-hmm.
asking for a little reciprocity and say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to be a better man
Yeah.
for you. Be a better
Mm-hmm.
woman for me.
It takes teamwork to make the dream work, right? And
Yes, sir.
and neither one of us wants to be the dead weight. Neither one of us wants to be the anchor that's holding the ship from going anywhere, from leaving the harbor. And so, when you have the masculine wanting to be heard, it's and these days there are a lot of good men there. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of suckers out there, period. You're gonna have that, just like there's a lot of suckettes. I mean, the women, I mean, that just like there's, I don't know if that even, whatever, but there's a lot of that
Word.
out there, right? And so we're talking for the folks that want, that have a good heart, and you want genuine connection, you want genuine relationship, you want genuine intimacy and vulnerability, all those kinds of things.
This is what it
This
takes.
is all about having these conversations and listening. And so that's why we wanted to lay all this out before we even get into the back and forward
The
on what
list
we
here.
agree with, what we don't agree with, because some of that stuff I was like, yeah, I mean, none of it I thought was way out in left field, but some of it, the volume is up a little bit higher than others for different men, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Almost like you have a stereo and you got the treble, you got the bass, you got the
Mhm.
whatever, all the other things on the equalizer. And so some of those things might be a little higher and lower. So before we even got into that, we wanted to address what we know is the elephant in the room based on the social experiment that was that post last week. And we're
Yeah.
like, okay, there's a lot of there are definitely some bitter women, and then there
Mhm.
are some women that are hurt and wounded that haven't done some healing, some work yet. But then there's also some women that are just, they got on, they got on sound, what is it?
The sound
The
canceling,
the
noise
sound
canceling
cancel noise
headphones.
canceling headphones, and they just see anything coming out of a man's mouth as noise, right? And they just want
Wow,
to
wow,
cancel
wow, wow,
anything.
wow.
And and so we want to address all of that before we get even into the list the next time
Yeah.
we get on here and unpack that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is what we do. We want to bring up some uncomfortable topics and talk about these things about
Mm-hmm.
it's got to go both ways, and go both ways in a healthy way, not in the
Mm-hmm.
cancel, like, well, it goes both ways. Men need to up their game. Well, we're working on that
Yeah.
with a lot of guys. And there are a lot of good men out there, to Kirk's point, that
Mm-hmm.
are scared and quiet.
Mhm.
because of what they see out in the world
Mhm.
and because of
Mhm.
things like that, where
Mhm.
express what you want and get shut down.
Yeah.
So, are you willing to allow that man to express himself and be a cooperative component in what it is he desires? Because I mean, honestly, we talk about that in the book. We talk about that on the podcast. You have to communicate about what you want, what your core beliefs are, what your main things are, so that you know whether this person is compatible with you or not. I don't care how cute they are, how nice their butt is. If you don't have the same core beliefs or the same desires, you don't have anything to build on. So this is a communication that we are encouraging men to do, and we want you ladies as well to have these talks and talk about, well, what do you want? What are your core beliefs? What are the things like? I mean, you can go political affiliations, religious beliefs, all these different things. You got to find what is the foundation. Do you have a foundation to work with? And
Mhm.
it's sad for us and frustrating when we say, hey, these are things, and this is from that whole post thing was from some
Mhm.
therapist that just said, and these are the things that she got out or he got out, whoever the therapist was, from men in therapy. So these are things they're
Mhm.
not expressing, and so they compile the list and say, this is what men deep down really want. I think for most men, they look at the list and say, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I can agree with most of those things, maybe a little variation on a lot of it, but for the most part, I agree. I would like, cooperation. I would like her to initiate sex more. I would like some respect, some loyalty, some
Mhm.
fidelity, all that. It's not crazy things,
Yeah.
but the reaction is like, wow, should I even talk about what I want?
So as we begin our initial descent,
Mhm.
into the metro area, I want to read that the one last kind of mic drop comment from a fantastic young lady that chimed in. And
Yep.
so first of all, when I read letters and numbers flip around, so I'm not a good reader, and then I don't have my glasses on, but I'm gonna try to get through this, this pretty in depth. But it was just phenomenal. So she goes, Jason, this has been a truly thought provoking post. I'll be honest that I was triggered at first but mostly by the "you must" and "you need" language. Also, I don't know that I could live up to these expectations, and the thought of failing, disappointing the most important person in my life is scary and heartbreaking. We all, men and women, have wants, needs, desires, expectations. When we come into a relationship, sometimes those expectations are met, sometimes they aren't. When they aren't, it's usually unintentional. But I think the person who's been disappointed takes it personally slash intentionally, and it creates a wound. I think both sides have every right to make their needs known and are in fact responsible for making them known, as you can't just expect someone to know what you need without stating it. But we're also responsible for managing our own expectations and not taking it personally when those expectations aren't always met. And then, I mean, and I'll skip down a little bit. She goes, I think of myself, and when someone, even if it's just a friend or a family member, hurts me, usually unintentionally, it's hard not to take it personally because it usually reinforces a lie I've already believed about myself from the past. I'm not worth it, as all this. And then she goes, we have to deal with our core beliefs about ourselves. They affect how we view and treat the world around us. I see many wounded people commenting on your post out of a wounded self image and worldview. Dude, I
Yeah. I
read
mean,
that. I
then,
literally dropped my phone after I read that. I
yeah.
dropped my phone. Man. It took me 5 minutes to reply to that. That was
Yeah.
phenomenal, dude.
Well, and that's if you are triggered by something that we post or that we say, I'm not going to put it on you and say we maybe didn't say something wrong. But if it triggers you, there's some belief in you that says,
Mhm,
oh, something inside my mindset
mhm,
resonates with that. Or
mhm,
if you're triggered, it's either I believe it's true or I'm afraid it's true.
mhm,
And so unfortunately, you got to go back to the mirror episode. You got to pull that mirror up and go, well, why is this triggering me?
mhm,
What is it in myself that I'm either afraid is true or I believe is true? And what do I
mhm,
need to do about that so that I'm not no longer triggered by
mhm.
a man speaking his desires to me?
Right. Right. I mean, this is powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain, and we're
Hey,
about to
Captain.
land on runway 16 left. I want to thank you for flying again, yet again, on Madmen Airlines. And just remind you to check us out Saturday mornings at 8 a.m., Wednesdays at 6 p.m., KLDC 1220 a.m. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Your baggage, you might as well not even take it with you because it
Just
becomes
leave that
luggage.
baggage.
But if in case you want to pick it up because you haven't listened to us, it'll be on Carousel 4.
Carousel for
JBK, what
KLDC
do you think,
1220
man?
AM.com if you want to stream it
Yeah.
live. I think we're opening a bag of worms that is going to be very fertilizing and helpful. It may stink in the beginning and it may not be the most pleasant, but this is where we need to go. We've got to till the garden and dig up the roots and
Yeah.
get this thing ready for planting for some healthy seeds to be planted. How about you, sir?
And to kind of dovetail off of that, I think it's a perfect word picture, man. We got to be willing to pull out the weeds if we want a healthy garden. And this is the type of thing that is us pulling out the weeds in our culture, in dating, in relationships, in modern
Personally,
femininity, in our own personal lives, and all these kind of things, man. So these are conversations we need to have. We happen to be willing to have these conversations that most people don't have when they're sitting around a table or when they're whatever. So these are things that need to be talked about. I think the a man giving voice to his wants, needs, and desires is a great indication of a healthy man, of a man who
yes,
values himself, and a man who values the other person that he's voicing those to, because he has somewhere in him he has a belief that person has the ability to meet those things. So
yes.
good stuff, man.
Amen to that. We love y'all. We'll see you next time. Remember to like and subscribe and share. If you don't
Mhm.
like and subscribe and share more.
Yeah.
We love
Great
y'all.
conversation for ladies to forward to other ladies, because this is stuff that
Yes.
I'm telling you, ladies should hear, but they won't hear from the guy sitting across from them at the first date. But these are the things that
Mm,
he's thinking. So on that note,
absolutely.
Mad Men out.
Love y'all. Bye.